Hi, everybody. Mitch Tanenbaum here. Thanks for joining me today. Today is June 19th, and this is the security news update for this week. First is the Apple M1 chip. Apple, as things move forward, not terribly surprisingly, Apple tries to do things more sophisticatedly, and when you do that, they wind up with some similar problems that other folks have had. So a public paper was published this week on the M1 chip design weakness having to do with a speculative execution attack, which Intel and AMD and ARM have all had problems with. Now it's Apple's turn. So, is the world over? No, I don't think so. But it just points that Apple also has problems just like everybody else. And next, the U.S. Intel chief says that cybersecurity is only getting harder because the tools that are available, the commercial spyware tools like NSO and advances by folks like the Chinese and North Koreans are just making things harder, and it forced them to admit that even the NSA really doesn't know how to protect the heavily protected network. So no big surprise there, unfortunately, but an acknowledgement of reality. In the software world, Apple has gotten into the passwordless model, or at least they're talking about it. It'll happen with Apple 16, iOS 16. But there's a problem there in that, assuming you decide to drink that Apple Kool-Aid and go with the passwordless security, you're locked into the Apple environment. So, if you need to move between a work PC and a home Mac or something like that, or for whatever reason you change computers, you're going to have to start over, and it's a challenge because at that point there are no passwords. So hopefully Apple will figure out an answer to how that works. But right now it's either you're in or you're not in. Next, Fujitsu has a slight problem with their cloud storage systems, which is that there's a bug which allows users who are not authenticated, not validated, to log in and delete all your backups. I think most people would consider that a kind of important problem. The researchers say that the kernel in their Fujitsu cloud storage appliance is severely outdated, meaning that it is probably pretty unsecure as well. In the world of the legal space, VPN providers have started pulling out of India. We'll see whether more pull out. From the Indian government standpoint, they don't really care about consumers' privacy, so they probably think that's a good thing. The issue is that the government wants the VPN providers to keep logs and identify users with real names and stuff like that. And the VPN providers said, well, kind of goes against our wishes. So, India is an okay market, but I think we'll just leave. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Have a bit of a sore throat. Also in the legal environment, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, which is can be a very aggressive federal prosecutor space, has filed charges against the former OpenSea executive for wire fraud and money laundering in connection with a scheme to commit insider trading for non-fungible tokens. And of course, the folks in the NFT space would like to say, oh, these are not investments, these are not securities. Nobody pays $100 million for an NFT thinking that they're going to make money. I mean, that is just kind of pocket change or something. I don't know. So we shall see how the prosecution goes. It's pretty clear that the folks who are running the NFT business think this is an investment, think this is a security, and thinks that people are doing this for profit motive. So, I'm guessing that this guy will make a deal. I'm not sure, but I think it will be a beginning of people understanding that this is not the Wild West in the crypto space, and that the feds really are going to go after you guys if you do things wrong. And the breaches side, entertainingly, I suppose, the Russian Ministry of Construction website says, glory to Ukraine. My guess is that was not put there by the Russians, but they said not to worry, your data is safe. Well, who the hell knows? I'm sure they wouldn't tell you the truth anyway. The city of Alexandria, Louisiana, was hit by ransomware. The city has asked the state for help, but they really haven't disclosed any details. The gang who is claiming responsibility for the hack says this is the governor's fault because the governor, after the last time, he called in the National Guard to help after a big cyber attack. They didn't do anything to actually improve cybersecurity, so he said this time they're not going to get away with it. The hackers say they have 80 gigabytes of compressed stolen data. Who knows what's going to happen there, but not good for the city or their consumers, or for that matter, probably for the rest of the state of Louisiana. In the healthcare space, which is always a bit scary, 2 million people are affected by the Shields Healthcare Group breach. The challenge there is Shields provides a bunch of diagnostic and ambulatory surgery services at places like Tufts Medical Center and UMass Memorial, and a bunch of other hospitals. Stolen include names, socials, all the normal stuff that you have in healthcare, which includes, provider diagnosis, billing, medical records. It's just not a great situation. And ransomware continues to morph, as it is wont to do. There's now a new group that the Feds released an alert about, that their whole MO is just to extort you for money. They don't bother to encrypt your data; they just steal it, and they don't bother breaking in. They buy credentials from other people. It's an amazing technique. It really cuts down on the overhead on their part. They don't have to write encryption code or decryption code. They just break in, take your data, and say, if you don't pay us, then we're going to sell it to the highest bidder. We're going to go threaten your customers. We're going to do a bunch of different things. So you do what you want to do, but if you don't pay us, then it's going to be very embarrassing for you. Fake updates continue to be a risk, as the Feds warn people that they are. The challenge with fake updates is that people are not great about being able to distinguish what's a real update from what's a fake update, and that's hard to do. And as a result, they install fake updates, and now the hackers own you. So that's a real challenge. And for companies, what you need to do is force the users to, force the users to go off and get updates through company challenges, so that you don't have to worry about that. But at home, and for executives who are not running on managed company PCs, that's a real problem. Next, the Feds also, researchers, not the Feds, have disclosed a likely Chinese hacking group. If you think about the ransomware attacks, they are traditionally kind of like a smash and grab burglar group. Break the front window, steal whatever's in the window, and run like hell. They're not subtle about it, right? These guys have been operational inside of a bunch of companies in a bunch of different domains, different industries, for nearly 10 years. I'm guessing that at this point, we really don't know where they are, but they've been operating very stealthily, and I think that's an interesting challenge to how you go stop that. It's just, it points to the fact that the Chinese are in it for the long game, and if it takes them 5 years to get in, they don't care. And in this week's security news, Anonymous seems to be doing a pretty damn good job against Russia. I mean, it seems like, every couple of days we have a new company, organization, gigabytes worth of data, terabytes worth of data from this organization or that organization. And historically, they haven't been able to get their act together, and they haven't had any momentum. But it sure seems like against Russia, they've gotten momentum. So, it works for them. The FTC has released a new regulation, or a clarification of a regulation, via blog post. That's kind of an interesting way of releasing regulations. New Jersey school district canceled finals after ransomware attack. The kids are sort of nervous because the ones who are supposed to graduate now don't exactly know how that's going to work. 8 zero-day vulnerabilities were patched in carriers' industrial control system, but that doesn't mean that users will actually patch them. And the DOJ announces a plan to improve its cybersecurity now. We could give the DOJ all kinds of credit if we wanted to, but the reality is they're just trying to comply with the executive order on cybersecurity, and they've been embarrassed enough times after, being hacked left and right. So from that perspective, uh, yes, good, they're doing it, and we shouldn't give them more credit than they deserve for doing it. So with that, I am going to call it quits for today. Thank you for listening. If we can help you with any of this stuff, please let us know. And until next time, here's to good cyber hygiene.
Turnkey Cybersecurity and Privacy Solutions offers the complete cybersecurity program for small to medium-sized businesses. They include everything needed to secure your business and meet compliance requirements. Visit our website at turnkeycybersecurityandprivacysolutions.com to learn more.